Today is the last chance Citigroup workers have to prove that they're vaccinated or submit documentation for religious or medical exemption. Citigroup, though, says that 99% have complied. For the other 1%, well, they will be placed on unpaid leave and fired at the end of the month. This, according to a memo that was obtained by Reuters. And by the way, it's not just Citigroup. More companies are doing this despite yesterday's Supreme Court ruling. So what's the legal fallout? With me now, George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley, also a Fox News contributor. Jonathan, we know that private businesses can kind of do what they want, but is there anything, has anything kind of changed with respect for those workers who believe they have rights as well?
Well, what has changed is, of course, the main mandate, the big one, the OSHA mandate, was shot down by the Supreme Court this week. And that was a major pillar of the Biden pandemic policies. What got through was the mandate that applies to federal workers. And that is already creating issues. I heard from a nurse who does telemedicine in California who's about to get fired because she doesn't have the vaccine. Right. And she says, I don't actually meet with patients, and yet I've been told I'll be fired if I don't get the vaccination. It's that type of loony application that really worries a lot of people. Some of these workers have natural immunities. They've had COVID. Some have had the variant, and they're objecting that they don't want to do the vaccine because they already have those immunities. Yeah. All those arguments are largely been rejected by courts. These companies have the CDC, which has their back. And CDC says, we think you should do this, and most courts are going to let them do it.
With that ruling yesterday and the Biden administration's attempt to force this through and using OSHA, a lot of people are saying we should look just beyond that part of it and what would have happened if it would have gone the other way. Other than just sort of a big, bigger government with more power, just how much more control, particularly over the areas of health and medicine.
I think this could be one of the most significant decisions that has come down that deals with our constitutional system. What the majority was saying is that this really is about democracy. This is about who makes decisions. And they didn't want an agency to make such a sweeping decision affecting over 80 million workers, basically on their own fiat, on their own discretion. They said, Congress needs to make these decisions. That's where the representatives of the people reside. And I think that what they were worried about is that agencies can become a type of fourth branch. And that's one too many in a tripartite constitutional system. And so while everyone is, not everyone, but many people are vilifying the court, they were actually trying to use the democratic process to say that's the process where you make tough decisions, where you have to justify them and get the votes to support them.
Well, the flip side of that, of course, is making three branches into one, because we've got a dueling narrative going on in this country. And it was a tough week for President Biden, but he really has lashed out. He lashed out earlier in this week at the Supreme Court, which, by the way, is what this voting right bill is all about. The fact that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was, quote unquote, watered down through various Supreme Court decisions, and also, the negating what the framers wanted to prevent the tyranny of the majority within Congress. How far should the administration go with its public outbursts toward these other branches, particularly the Supreme Court?
Well, this is not helping. I was disappointed by the president's speech in Atlanta. Arguments don't become stronger simply because you state them louder. And that applies to politics and the law. He went on Capitol Hill and had another diatribe accusing anyone who's supporting the filibuster of basically being segregationist, of being in favor of autocracy. Well, that's bloody ridiculous. And the result is that you have all these people attacking people like Senator Sinema and members of his own party. President Biden himself supported the filibuster for most of his career. He said it would be disastrous to democracy if it was eliminated. So did Barack Obama. Yeah. So did Chuck Schumer, who said it would reduce us to a banana republic. So there is democracy, there is autocracy, but there's also hypocrisy. Yeah. And that's where we are right now.
And they used it quite a bit when the other party was in office. Jonathan, you're one of the best. I appreciate being able to talk to you about this. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Charles.